Hello. So, good afternoon to everybody. So, can I just double check with you guys? Can you guys hear me actually? Okay. So, once more, good afternoon to everybody. So, before I proceed, allow me to just give a little bit of short tips, which will only take me 1 minute. I noticed there are some students who actually say good evening, which is very polite of you. However, we don't use good evening for this hour. For your information, from 12 to 6 p.m., we actually say good afternoon. And it's only from 6 p.m. onwards, we say good evening. So, of course, there are contradicting notes. There are people saying that after 5 p.m., we can say good evening. So it's fine, like 5 p.m., 6 p.m., it's fine. But we don't say good evening at this hour. We actually say good afternoon, yeah? So good afternoon to everybody. We don't say good night as a salutation. So you don't see your friend at kopitiam and then say, hey, good night to you. It sounds really weird. We will actually say, let's say you see your friend at 9 p.m. at the kopitiam, you will still say, hey, good evening, what are you doing here? And it's only when you want to go back. Okay, that's all. I want to go back now. Good night. Then you use the word good night. Okay, I think a lot of us mistaken thinking that we can actually use good night at night time, but it's actually used to say goodbye. Goodbye, good night actually means the same thing. Okay, so good afternoon to everybody. Let us start the class for today. Today, this afternoon, we are very, very proud, very honored. The Ppd Sarikei can actually invite CIKGU Wong SIEW from SMK St, who will be delivering a talk on sentence patterns. I'm CIKGU Bridget, together with CIKGU Irene. Both of us will be the facilitator and moderator of today's class. I noticed some of the teachers join us as well, so welcome to the teachers. So some rules and regulation before we start our class. Do pay attention to the teacher later, CIKGU Robin. Listen to his instruction, whether you will need to print things or whether you need to prepare your pens, exercise books, or whether to screen capture. Do pay attention to him. Be polite to each other, especially in the text comment. You guys set a very good example in this beginning, so everything looks okay. Feel free to ask questions in the text comments and it will be answered by any of the teachers available here. There will be an attendance in the last slide, so please pay attention to that. To ensure that your attendance is actually being taken, please ensure that you fill in the attendance form at the very last slide. And last but not least, remember to subscribe to USTP Ppd Sarikei so that you guys will always be updated with the latest video that we made available. All right, so without further ado, we very, very proudly and honored to welcome. So CIKGU Wong SIEW, can you please take the stage?
Okay, so thank you, CIKGU Bridget. Okay, so I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, so since this is on YouTube, so you do not have to copy any notes, okay? You just focus and pay your full attention to whatever that I'm sharing with you, okay? So let's say if you really need to refer back to the notes that I've given you, you can always refer to the video, right? Okay, so as you all know, I'm going to talk about sentence patterns today, right? Okay, so shall we get started? Okay, so first of all, why do we need to master the sentence patterns? Okay, so of course, you need to master these sentence patterns to write a variety of sentences in your composition or essay, right? And then, of course, you need to master these to answer your rational clause, okay, in your paper 2. And then, of course, you need to master these to construct sentences correctly. Okay, so in short, you need to learn these types of sentences or sentence patterns, okay, when you are writing you will need this to use different types of sentences to suit your purpose, audience, and text type. Alright, so for this lesson, you need to have this background knowledge. Okay, so please activate your background knowledge on tenses. Okay, so this is the basic to English. Okay, so you should have studied present tense, past tense, and future tense by now. Okay, and for each, you will have the simple form, the participle form, and the continuous form. All right. Of course, by now you should have known subject and verb agreement. Okay, where the singular subject takes on the singular verb and the plural subject takes on the plural verb. Then, of course, you must know about the parts of speech. Okay, what are nouns, what are verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and etc. All right, here it comes to our learning objectives today. Okay, so first of all, you will need to rearrange the words given to you to form correct sentences. All right. The second learning objective is that to identify the conjunctions in the given sentences. The third objective is to complete the compound sentences using the correct coordinating conjunctions. Okay, so if you are not familiar with this, it's okay. We will go deeper into this later. Okay, and then the fourth objective, you will need to combine the pair of sentences using the correct subordinating conjunctions. So far, so good? Okay, so as for the starter of our lesson today, so I would like you to look at the picture and write or construct in your mind, okay, a sentence you can see from the picture. Okay, I'll just give you around 30 seconds. All right, so let's see what are the possible sentences that you can construct. The first one, okay, the children are crossing the road. Do you have this? Okay, the second sentence, Jane is wearing pink and her son is wearing orange. Okay, another sentence perhaps. Okay, although the traffic is congested, everyone is not stressed. Okay, look at the smiles that they have on their faces, right? They are not stressed at all. All right, so from these three sentences, we can actually categorize them into these three categories, all right? So basically, we have simple sentences, okay? As for the example, the children are crossing the road, okay? And then we have compound sentence, okay? Jane is wearing pink and her son is wearing orange. And thirdly, we have a complex sentence, okay? Although the traffic is congested, everyone is not stressed. Okay, so now let's look into simple sentences first. Are you ready? All right, so as you can see here, okay, a simple sentence consists of only one clause, okay, with a single subject and predicate. Are you familiar with the word clause? So basically, a clause is a part of the sentence that contains a verb, okay? A typical clause consists of a subject and a predicate, okay? And the predicate typically contains a verb phrase, a verb with any objects and other modifiers, right? So please remember this, eh? A clause is a part of the sentence that contains a verb, okay? Because I'll be using this word very oftenly after this, all right? Okay, so look at these examples here. The first one, I drove, right? I drop, whereby I obviously is the subject and drop is the predicate, right? And then we have Megan read, right? Obviously, Megan is a subject, read in the form of past tense is the predicate, okay? And then we have the third example, the dog barked and growled, right? The dog is a subject and the predicate is barked and growled, okay? All right, let's move on. So simple sentences, however, can contain multiple nouns. Okay, they can contain multiple nouns, multiple verbs. Okay, more than one verbs. Okay, adjectives, adverbs, connectives, and prepositions. Okay, but they cannot contain more than one clause. Okay, please remember this. Okay, a simple sentence itself is a clause. Okay, however, you cannot have more than one clause in one simple sentence. Okay, all right, let's look at these examples here. I drove slowly through the huge puddle. All right, so even though it is elaborated, still it is a simple sentence. All right. The second example here, Megan read her favorite actor's autobiography. Right. And the fierce dog barked and growled loudly. Okay. Any problem so far? Remember, a simple sentence consists of only one clause. Right. All right. Now let's go into subject and predicate. All right. Okay, look at this first example here. The cat ran at a high speed. Okay, so obviously the words in red is the subject. Okay, and the words in blue are the predicates. Okay, the second example here. The beautiful girl was wearing a green dress. Okay, so the subject is the beautiful girl, and the predicate will be was wearing a green dress. Right? Okay, example number 3. My little sister works in the hospital. Pretty simple. The subject, my little sister. Predicate, works in the hospital. Right? Okay, example number 4 will be a very good example for multiple nouns. Alright? Multiple nouns in the subject. Okay, so as you can see here, we have John and his uncle. Right? John and his uncle, two persons. Right? Are working in their school. Right? Okay, the last example here is also a multiple noun subject. Okay, we have Jessica and her mother are educated classical dancers, right? Okay, so are you clear with subject and predicate now? All right, let's move on to our first activity, which is rearrange the words to form correct sentences. Okay? All right, so let's look at the first set of words. Okay, so you are given English, I'm doing, and activity now. All right, so please rearrange the words to form a correct sentence. Right? So let's see what is the correct sequence. Okay, so we have I'm doing an English activity now. Okay, whereby I is a subject and doing an English activity now, that is the predicate. Okay. All right, let's look at the second set of words. Okay. All right, so the second set of words you have be and max, two, once, actor, one, day. Okay, let's see if you get the sequence correct. Okay, we have Max wants to be an actor one day. Okay, so Max is the subject and wants to be an actor one day is the predicate. Okay, all right, the third set we have new, day, we, place, long, all, Sarah, her, doll, Barbie. Okay, so please rearrange. Okay, so do you get the correct sequence? We have Sarah plays with a new Barbie doll all day long. Okay. All right, let's look at the fourth set. All right, so we have Kelly, her, brother, always, we, fights. Okay, let's see if you get the sequence correct. We have Kelly always fights with her brother. Okay, whereby Kelly is the subject, always fights with her brother is the predicate. All right, the final set. So here you have last, father, bought, month, a, car, new, my. Okay, so the correct sequence would be, my father bought a new car last month, right? So my father is the subject, bought a new car last month is the predicate. All right, so far so good. Remember, simple sentence should have only one clause. Okay, so let's recap. A simple sentence consists of only one clause. Okay. All right, next, shall we move on? Let's move on to the second type, which is the compound sentences. Okay, compound sentences. All right, so this is our second activity. You have to identify the conjunctions in the following sentences. Okay, identify the conjunctions. Okay, so this is the first sentence. I love to eat and she loves to relax. Okay, so please identify the conjunction. You can just type in the comment section. All right, so the answer here is and. All right, and is the conjunction in this sentence. Okay, the second sentence, we have cows, but we don't have horses. So which word do you think is the conjunction here? Okay, so obviously the conjunction here is but. Okay, but. All right, the next sentence, John studies math for it is his favorite subject. Okay, so the conjunction here is for. All right, for. All right, the last sentence, Michael needs to eat the medicine or he will fall sick. How about this sentence? Which word actually is the conjunction? Okay, obviously, or is the conjunction here. Okay, so what is with all these conjunctions, class? Okay, so actually, all these conjunctions are used in compound sentences, right? Okay, so a compound sentence consists of two independent clauses, okay? You still remember what is a clause just now? A clause must consist of a verb, right? Okay, so these compound sentences, they must have two independent clauses. joined together by a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Okay, so please pay extra attention to these coordinating conjunctions. Okay, because there are only 7 in which you can remember very easily. Okay, so the coordinating conjunctions are, we have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so, right? So in order to remember this very easily, you can just remember the acronym fanboys. Okay, fanboys. Remember, compound sentences, fanboys. Okay. Okay, look at these examples here. Okay, before I proceed, these 2 independent clauses, okay, they have the same importance. Okay, they are of the same importance. I will explain later, right? Okay, look at these examples. The first one, he was tired, so he went to bed early. Okay, so there are 2 independent clauses here, which are, he was tired, right? He was tired. And then another independent clause here is, he went to bed early, right? 2 independent clauses, and then they are joined by the coordinating conjunction so. Okay, so by this you can write a very good compound sentence. Okay, the second example, I cooked dinner and he washed the dishes. Okay, so the first independent clause is, I cooked dinner, and the second independent clause is, he washed the dishes. Do you get it? Okay, independent clauses mean that they can stand on their own. Okay, they don't depend on each other to make the meaning complete. Okay, all right, the third example here, Jen has a blue car but Jill has a red car. Okay, so the first independent clause, Jen has a blue car. Okay, if we stop there, the meaning is already complete. Okay, it doesn't depend on the second part to make it complete. All right, so the second independent clause, Jill has a red car. Any problem so far? So when you're writing sentences, be very alert about these rules. Okay. All right. Now let's go into the coordinating conjunctions. Okay. What are the functions of the fanboys? All right. So the first coordinating conjunction is for. Okay. So for actually means because. Okay. For example, here I drank some water for I was thirsty. Okay. Because I was thirsty. So I drank some water. Okay. The second one is and. Okay, so and means in addition to. Okay, in addition to. So for example, here I take bread as my breakfast and I drink milk too. Okay, so in addition to eating bread, you are drinking milk too, right? So next we have nor. Okay, I realize that not many students can use this conjunction correctly, all right? So nor here actually means and not. Okay, and not. Okay, for example, I don't like chocolate, nor do I like sweets. Okay, it means you don't like chocolate and also you don't like sweets. Okay, all right. The fourth one is but. Okay, but here actually means however. Okay, for example, I want to eat KFC, but I'm on diet. Okay, but however, right? Okay, next we have or. Okay, or means either. Okay, you have a choice there. Okay, for example, here we can go to the library or we can go to a theme park. Okay, you have a choice there, either going to a library or going to a theme park. Okay, next we have yet. Okay, yet means but. Okay, so for example here, the chicken is spicy, yet we enjoy it very much. Okay, so you can use yet and but interchangeably here. All right, and the last one we have so. Okay, so actually means therefore. Okay, therefore. So the example given here is, she is sick, so she is not going to the school. Okay, she is not going to the school. Okay, so any problem with these coordinating conjunctions? Okay, so after this, perhaps you can just copy this down, okay, in your notebook, okay, because this is very useful when it comes to writing sentences, okay. All right, next, it comes to our activity 3, okay. So you have to complete the compound sentences using the correct coordinating conjunctions, okay. Complete the sentences, all right. Okay, so this is the first sentence here. I have to find a new car. Okay, so this is the first independent clause, and the second independent clause here is I sold my old car. Okay, so which coordinating conjunction do you think is suitable here? Right, so the correct one would be for. Okay, I have to find a new car for I sold my old car. Okay, so for here is referring to because, okay, the reason why do you need to find a new car. Okay, the reason is because you have sold your old car, right? Okay, do you get it correct? Okay, so for this selection of coordinating conjunctions, you must know, okay, what is the relation, okay, what is the relation of the first independent clause to the second independent clause. Okay, you must get the relation correct, then you will be able to select the correct one. Okay, all right, let's look at the second sentence. Okay, he ran fast, he came in the last. Okay, he ran fast. This is the first independent clause. He came in the last, the second independent clause, right? All right, so which is the answer? Okay, he ran fast, but he came in the last. Okay, in the same manner, in the same context, you can also use yet. So you get it now here? Like I said before, yet and but can be used interchangeably, right? So he ran fast, yet he came in the last. Okay, he ran fast, but he came in the last, right? Okay, the next one. Okay, he was sick. He couldn't play badminton. This is a good one. I can see some of you are confused just now between for and so, right? For and so. So this is a very good example to clarify that. Okay, he was sick, so he couldn't play badminton. Okay, can you see the relation here, class? He was sick, therefore, so he couldn't play badminton. Okay. Okay, very good. The next one. Okay, she's very good at playing netball. Okay. And the second part, the second independent clause, she is not good at riding a bike. Okay. So which do you think is suitable here? The first part, we are talking about she is good at something. And the second part, she is not good at something. Okay. So the answer here is but. Okay. But she is not good at riding a bike. Okay. The next one. He must come now. He will be late. Okay. So as you can see here, there is a choice here, right? Either he comes now, or he will be late. So which do you think is correct? Okay, so the correct option would be or. Okay, very good. He must come now or he will be late. Okay, it's either one. Okay. Okay. About this. She came in the house, her baby started crying. So there are two independent clauses here, joined by. Okay, it's joined by and. Okay, she came in the house and her baby started crying. Right? Do you get it correct? Very good. Okay, so I believe this is the last one. Okay, so Paul didn't talk to his friends. Did he call his father? Okay, so there are two independent clauses here, joined by. Okay, I can see that some of you got it correct. Joined by nor. Okay, Paul didn't talk to his friends, nor did he call his father. Okay, very good. Okay, now let's recap. A compound sentence. What is a compound sentence, class? A compound sentence contains two or more. Okay, it can be more. Okay, more than two independent clauses of equal importance that are linked by a coordinating conjunctions. Okay, the fanboys. Okay, let's look at the first example here again. The comedian told a joke and the audience laughed uncontrollably, right? So the first independent clause here is the comedian told a joke. The second independent clause, the audience laughed uncontrollably. Okay, they are independent. They don't rely on each other to make it complete. Okay, that is compound sentences. Okay, all right. So far so good. Okay, so if there is no problem, let's move on to the third type of sentence, the complex sentences. Okay, now a complex sentence has an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Okay, so this is the key difference to compound sentence just now. Okay, complex sentence, one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Okay, compound sentences just now. Okay, both are independent clauses. Do you get it? Okay, look at the example here. When the cake is brown, comma, take it out the oven. Okay, so which is the independent clause here, class? The independent clause here is take it out the oven. Okay, it's very clear. It is an instruction. Okay, it can stand alone as a sentence, right? And the dependent clause, of course, is when the cake is brown. Okay, why is that this is a dependent clause, class? Because this cannot stand alone as a sentence. Okay, many of you tend to write these kind of sentences, right? When the cake is brown, and then you put a full stop there. Okay, then the sentence is hanging. Yeah? The meaning is incomplete. Okay, right? Okay, so as compared to compound sentences just now, in complex sentences, we are using subordinating conjunctions. Okay, subordinating conjunctions. Okay, look at the first sentence here. When the cake is brown, take it out the oven, right? So when obviously is the subordinating conjunction here. Okay, the second example here, you will definitely lose if you don't try. Okay, so the independent clause is you will definitely lose, and then the dependent clause is if you don't try. Okay, so if here is the subordinating conjunction. Any problem? as compared to the 7 coordinating conjunctions earlier on, right? Okay, so basically we can categorize these conjunctions into different categories, okay? So the first category, we have comparison, okay? Comparison, we have than, rather than, whether, as much as, whereas, right? Okay, and then we have subordinating conjunction for time, okay? For example, after, as soon as, until, whenever, now that, okay? So later on, after the section, perhaps you can get this down. Yeah? You can copy this down as your notes. Okay. And the next one will be concession, right? Concession. We have though, although, and even though, right? Okay, look at these examples here. The first sentence, although he was wealthy, he was still unhappy, right? Okay, so which part do you think is the dependent clause, class? The dependent clause would be although he was wealthy, right? And then the independent one would be he was still unhappy. Do you get it correct? Okay, the second sentence, she returned the calculator after she noticed it was damaged, right? So the independent clause here is she returned the calculator, and the dependent one is after she noticed it was damaged. Do you understand? Okay, and the last one here, I like reading as much as Lenny does. Okay, so the independent one will be I like reading, and the dependent one will be as much as Lenny does. Remember, independent clause can stand on its own. Okay, the meaning is already complete. Okay, whereas dependent clause needs to depend on the independent clause to make the meaning complete. Just bear in mind this, right? That is complex sentence. Okay, some more subordinating conjunctions. Okay, we have relatives. Okay, for example, we have who, whoever, whom, whose, that, which. Okay, subordinating conjunctions for reasons. Okay, we have because, since, so that, in order to, as. Okay, and then for condition, we have if, only if, unless, provided that, assuming that. Okay. All right. So let's look at these examples here. The first one, I heated my coffee in the microwave because it was too cold. Can you please tell me which part of this sentence is the independent clause? Independent clause. It will be, I heated up my coffee in the microwave. Okay, so that is the independent clause. And the dependent one is because it was too cold. Right? The second sentence, he will become stressful only if he works harder. Okay, he will become successful only if he works harder. Okay, so where is the independent clause here? He will become successful. Okay, and the independent one, the dependent one, only if he works harder. Right? Okay, lastly, we have the man who wears a red shirt is my father. Okay, this is a bit tricky. So where is the independent clause, class? The independent clause here is the man is my father. All right, the man is my father, and the dependent clause is actually embedded. Okay, embedded in the independent clause. Okay, so the dependent one would be who wears a red shirt. Okay, so far so good. So again, after this section, you can copy this as your notes. Okay. All right, so some more subordinating conjunctions. I believe these are the two last categories. Okay, so first category is place. Okay, for example here, where, wherever. Okay, and Then we have subordinating conjunction manner. Okay, for example, here we have how, as though, as if. Okay, let's look at the examples here. I like the coffee shop where you bought the nasi lemak last week. Okay, so where is the independent clause, class? I like the coffee shop. Okay, so that is the independent clause. And the dependent one, where you bought the nasi lemak last week. Alright? And the last example here, he is behaving so strangely as if he is being possessed. Okay, so the independent clause is he is behaving so strangely, and the dependent clause is as if he is being possessed. Okay. All right. So this activity 4. Okay. So I want you to do this. Okay, and we will discuss one by one later. Right. Combine the pair of sentences using the correct subordinating conjunction. Okay, let's look at the first pair. Okay, so there are two independent clauses here. Okay, so you have to change them into a complex sentence. Okay, so that means one of these will become dependent clause. Okay, so the first one, he handed in his work, his homework. Okay, he handed in his homework. And the second one, he forgot to give the teacher the last page. Okay, so please try. All right, we have some responses already. He handed in his homework, but he forgot to give the teacher the last page. Okay, remember, we are going to transform these sentences into complex sentences, all right? It's not compound sentences, okay? So the responses that you have given are correct, okay? I wouldn't say it is wrong, but then it is still in compound sentences, all right? Our task now is to convert these into a complex sentence, all right? Okay, we have another response here, also using but. Okay, remember, but is one of the fanboys, right? One of the fanboys means it is a compound sentence. Okay, all right. Do you have these as your answer? Okay, when he handed in his homework, he forgot to give the teacher the last page. Okay, can you see that, class? So automatically, when he handed in his homework, becomes the dependent clause. Okay, the dependent clause. And the independent clause here is he forgot to give the teacher the last page. Okay, it's okay. It's a good try. All right, let's try another one. Okay, so the first sentence here is the teacher returned the homework. And the second sentence, he noticed the error. I mean, she noticed the error, right? So please combine the pair of sentences using the correct subordinating conjunction. Okay, remember, we are constructing complex sentences. Okay. Okay, we have some responses here. The teacher returned the homework and she noticed the error. Okay, still we can see N. Okay. When the teacher returned the homework, she noticed the error, right? Okay. Okay, do you have this? The teacher returned the homework after she noticed the error, right? So, can you see that? We use the subordinating conjunction of time, right? So, the independent clause here is the teacher returned the homework. And the dependent one is after she noticed the error. Okay, it's a good try. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so these are the two sentences. The students are studying. They have a test tomorrow. I think this is pretty easy, right? Okay, most of you got it correct. All right, very good. So the answer will be the students are studying because they have a test tomorrow. Okay, because okay, it shows the cause and reason. Okay, all right, another set. This is the second last set, I think. Okay, so they finished studying. John and Maria went to the movies. Okay, so how would you combine them? Okay, John and Maria went to the movie before they finished studying. No, that is not a good practice. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay, after they finished studying, John and Maria went to the movies. Okay, you don't go before you finish studying. That is not a good practice. All right, so automatically the first part becomes the dependent clause. Okay, after they finish studying, and the independent one will be John and Maria went to the movies. Okay, all right, the last one for this fourth activity. Okay, we have this. John and Maria went to the movies. They felt tired. All right. Okay, we have some responses here. After John and Maria went to the movies, they felt tired. Okay. All right. Most of you are using after, right? Okay. Let's see what is another possible answer for this, right? Okay. So we have John and Maria went to the movies although they felt tired. Okay. This can also be a good sentence, right? Although they felt tired, John and Maria still went to the movies. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Let's recap. Okay. So a complex sentence contains an independent clause, okay, and a dependent clause, okay. The subordinate clause supports the main clause and does not make sense on its own. So this is the main difference between a compound sentence and a complex sentence, okay. A compound sentence has two independent clauses, okay. All of them can stand on their own, whereas a complex sentence, okay, has one independent clause and a dependent clause, okay. So for example here, when he saw the first exam question, he knew he was in trouble, right? So the dependent clause would be when he saw the first exam question, okay? So this part actually depends on the second part to make it complete, okay? So the independent clause would be he knew he was in trouble, right? Okay. All right, so in comparison, this is the overview of our lesson today, right? So in comparison, a simple sentence, okay, has one independent clause. Remember, only one independent clause, okay? For example, I like English, okay? Whereas a compound sentence, like I mentioned before, it has one independent clause plus one or more independent clause, okay? Remember, both should be independent clauses, okay? For example here, I like English for I find it interesting, okay? I like English, the first independent clause. I find it interesting, the second independent clause, okay? I like English because I find it interesting, right? Okay, next we have complex sentence. Okay, so a complex sentence contains one independent clause, okay, and one or more dependent clause. Okay, dependent clause. So for example here, I have spent a lot of time studying sentence patterns because I like English. Okay, so the independent clause here is I have spent a lot of time studying sentence patterns. If you just put a full stop there, it is already a complete sentence, right? And then the dependent clause is because I like English. Okay, so this part actually depends on the first part to make it complete. Okay, so far so good. So whenever you are writing a composition or an essay, okay, please plan, yeah, plan your idea and then try to use various type of sentences to deliver your thoughts. Okay. All right. Now, so this is the combination of all the skill that you have learned just now, right? Okay. So for this practice, you have to write the following sentences in compound or complex sentences. Okay, if you want to, you can write this in your exercise book perhaps, or on your foolscap paper, all right? So the first set of sentences given here are, the boys went to the park. They did not go to the zoo. So you have to write this in both compound and complex sentence, okay? Please try. All right, do you get it? Okay, let's see. Okay, if it is a compound sentence, it sounds like the boys went to the park, but they did not go to the zoo. All right. Okay. How about in terms of complex sentence? Okay. In the form of complex sentence, it sounds like the boys went to the park because they did not go to the zoo. Right? Do you get it correct? Okay, let's try another set. Okay, this is pretty simple. I think you can get it. The first sentence, we like pizza. The second sentence, we like spaghetti. Okay, so in the form of compound sentence, it sounds like we like pizza and we like spaghetti. Okay, so the coordinating conjunction here is and. Okay, we use and to turn this into a compound sentence. Okay, how about in the form of complex sentence then? Okay, it can sound like this. Although we like pizza, we like spaghetti the most. Okay, so there is a comparison here, right? Okay, so are you clear about the sentences that we have discussed? We have simple, compound, and complex. Okay, so I believe that's all from me today. Okay, I hope you can really put this into your writing, especially writing of your composition, right? In constructing your sentences and so on, right? Okay, so as for your attendance, please go to this link and key in your attendance. All right, just go to this link and key in your attendance. All right, so please don't forget to key in your attendance. And I think that's all for today. Thank you very much for your attention.